Hello, my loves. I hope that you have all been absolutely wonderful. Today I have a video where I'm going to talk about the different ways in which my partnership has helped heal me. So a lot of us focus on healing when we are single. We do this through therapy or journaling or perhaps just getting to know ourselves better. But I do believe that there is a certain threshold that cannot really be taken further when you're single. And what I mean by that is you can only do so much self-work, so much self-growth, so much development and healing when you are alone. And it is because in our partnerships and when we are paired up is when our triggers start to come back, is when the true healing actually starts. You can only do so much healing as a single individual. And actually, healing is accelerated when you are in a divine union because you are able to grow in ways that you just couldn't even have imagined when you were alone, because this person is going to help you see that shadow part of yourself that maybe you've been neglecting or denying, or maybe other people in your life are just not close enough with you to be able to allow you to confront these things. Generally, our friends and family want to protect us. They want us to remain as we are, and they're not going to be helping us really get to that next level. However, if you meet the right person and you guys are both committed to growth and both committed to becoming the best versions of yourself, then together you guys can really heal and you guys can really manifest that best version of yourself because you have each other to keep yourself accountable. You have someone who's actually keeping you accountable and making sure that you really are striving towards your goals. You really are looking at those toxic patterns and trying to dismantle them so you can live a healthier life. And so when I met my now partner, we definitely had a lot of healing to both endure, and the healing is still going on. The healing is a forever journey, but even just looking back to the person I was a few years ago, it is like just miles away from the person I am today, and I can truly thank my partner for that, because if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would be the woman that I am today. So I'm going to highlight 3 different wounds and 3 different areas that he really helped me level up, and how this has just been an immense blessing in my life. And so the first wound is the scarcity wound. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'd probably be taken back by that, because I do not come off as someone who has a scarce mentality. I am quite abundant. I would say I live a very lavish lifestyle. You know, a lot of people who are my age have not had the experiences that I've had, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm very blessed and privileged to be in this position. However, there were still areas in which I was not completely abundant, and so we're going to talk about those. And it's really funny because sometimes you might look at a certain behavior or a certain pattern and think, oh, this is completely normal. But when you really peel back the layers, you realize this is a lack mentality. This is a scarcity mindset. This is, rooted in maybe something from childhood, and it's something that I have a fear of. Perhaps you have this deep-rooted fear of not having enough money or not having enough resources, and so you do these things that on the surface may appear completely normal, but when you really analyze it, you realize that actually it is related to a wound. So let me give you a few examples. In my childhood, it was completely frowned upon to not finish the food on your plate. Like, it was a big deal. And I think that this is quite common with immigrant families. You know, you bring your family to America and you work really hard, and so, you know, whatever money you've spent on groceries or food is vital, and you want your kids to have that nourishment. You want your kids to eat all of those things and truly be full. But you don't realize that you're actually giving them a bad habit, right? Because my bad habit was having to finish every last thing on my plate, even if I was full. Okay, and so you can see how many problems this created. It caused me to overeat, it caused me to overindulge, it caused me to feel guilt or shame if I was so full and I couldn't finish my plate. And just seeing that food, I would hear the words of my mother being like, don't waste food, it's a sin, it's not good, especially in our culture. Like, it is looked down upon if you are wasting food. And by the way, in no way am I blaming my parents for this wound. I think every single family is going to have its own dynamic, and obviously when we moved to America, we were in a completely different position. My parents were both immigrants. They were both working really hard. You know, we were actually on food stamps for a while, and so money wasn't just, you know, overflowing in those days. And so obviously I know that this was like a protective mechanism to ensure that we were not being wasteful, but it had far-reaching impacts on me. So like I said, I had this habit of having to eat everything on my plate, having to like scrape off every little last bite from the pan. And I mean, it's super silly thinking about it, and it is a little bit vulnerable, but I just want to bear it all. I want to be upfront with you guys and just really tell you guys how I've healed. And so my partner noticed this thing where like we would be eating dinner together and my plate wouldn't be completely finished yet, but I would like really slow down with my eating, and I would eat just like a bite, chat a little bit, and another 10 minutes and take a bite. And he'd be like, "Are you full, honey?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm pretty full." And he's like, "Just throw that, you know?" And I'd be like, "What do you mean? Like, I can't throw this food. Like, that's a sin. Like, I shouldn't be wasteful." And he was just like, "Babe, God wants you to be full. He doesn't want you to be overextending yourself and like literally overeating. And actually, it is a sin to be gluttonous. It is a sin to overeat." So little did I know, I thought that I was actually being, you know, I thought that I was being close to God by not being wasteful. But on the other hand, I was actually sinning in a different way because I was being gluttonous. I was overeating when I knew that I had been fully nourished. I had been full. And so this is still something that I'm working on, but it's something that I've gotten a lot better at. And there are just so many examples that I could discuss under this one bracket of scarcity. So another thing that for me was actually a symptom of me having this scarcity mindset was I would order something online that I liked, or I would receive a gift from my partner, and instead of like taking the tags off and putting it in my closet and just wearing it immediately, I would kind of like keep it in the box, or I would keep the tags on but put it in my closet. And I was delaying actually wearing the newest things that I had bought. And you might not think that that is a lack mentality, but it is, because deep down in our subconscious, we are thinking, well, let's save this item. Let's save this item because we don't know if we're going to be able to get a new item. We don't know when the next time we're going to receive a nice gift. So actually, I have really done my best to change that, and nowadays when I buy something new, the next day I am taking the tags off, I am putting it on, I am wearing it, because guess what? Every day is a celebration. Every day is a gift. Like, I'm really tuning in to that frequency of just realizing that every single day is a holiday. As long as you decide that, you will become that, and you will see that in your reality. So instead of saving off your nice outfit for your birthday or waiting until Christmas to wear your new shoes, wear them tonight. Put it on tomorrow. Like, get to it, because you never know when your last day is going to be, and it is so important to just savor each and every moment we get, and to truly live abundantly, to truly savor everything that we have. And once again, I just want to let you guys know, like, these are just superficial things, right? It's just an outfit, it's just shoes, but it goes much deeper than that, because if we are not thinking we are worthy enough to put on our best outfit and our best shoes, well, then we probably are not showing up in the world being worthy enough, right? Usually the way that you present yourself is a reflection of your inner thoughts, is a reflection of your inner worth. So if you are, wearing your old clothes or your old pajamas and saving the new ones for a special occasion, deep down you are telling yourself, today I am not worthy enough. Perhaps next month I will be. Perhaps next year I will become that worthy. Okay, so this is your sign to wear that piece of jewelry. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. Don't be shy about it. Be bold, be proud, and be confident. Wear that extravagant outfit, do your hair, put the makeup on, or do whatever it is that you feel radiates your most abundant self. Okay, because when you put your best foot forward and you really show up in that manner, just watch the blessings pour right back into you, right? Because now you are showing up in the world as if every day is the most abundant day, as if every day is a holiday and a celebration. And this is a true testament to being abundant. Right? It's not just about doing affirmations. It's not just about having a vision board. It goes much deeper than that. Okay. I want to talk about one more example with this scarcity wound. I'm sure there are dozens others, but this one is coming to mind, and then we'll get into the other wounds. So the other thing that I realized, at least in my life, was related to my scarcity wound was kind of similar to wanting to finish everything on my plate. So it was wanting to get the full use out of something that I had paid for. Okay, so this is an example. When my partner and I travel, there are times where we will book business class seats. Okay, sometimes we'll get first class. And that already is a whole nother leap of faith, right? Because when my partner will book these flights, a lot of the times my first reaction is oh my God, honey, this is outside of our budget. This is a big investment, and my first gut reaction will kind of be ooh, was that the right decision? So that was already bad territory, right? Because if I really want to be abundant, I should feel invigorated when he makes a big purchase like that. I should feel abundant. I should feel good. I shouldn't have a negative feeling in my heart. So that was already a little bit of scarcity going on, right? Instead of just fully surrendering and fully trusting and fully following his plan and knowing that we will be provided for no matter what, knowing that God will bless us abundantly no matter what, knowing that whatever we spend today will be returned back to us 1,000-fold. Those are the thoughts that I should have been having. None of this oh, that's too expensive or anything like that. You guys know I'm very intentional with the words that I speak. But sometimes you can be really intentional with the words, but even the thoughts, the thoughts is the next layer, right? Because you can say, I'm so abundant, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, all these things, but are you really standing by that? Are you really having thoughts that support that belief? Okay, so back to the story of flying business and first. So I remember when I was first flying business and first, I wanted like all the perks, right? So as soon as you sit down and the plane hasn't taken off and the stewardess is like, would you like champagne? I'd be like, yes, bring it on. Let's have snacks. Like, let's do all the meals. And once again, like I would feel this need to finish my glass of champagne. I would feel this need to finish every last bite of my 4-course dinner. I would feel the need to like have to get dessert even if I was full. And so it went back to that same feeling of scarcity, because when I really tuned into my heart, I realized, okay, you're doing this not because you actually want the thing, not because you're actually craving chocolate mousse at 10 a.m., but because you think, maybe I'm not gonna fly business or first again. Maybe I'm not going to have this lavish experience again. And so I really encourage you guys to tune into the true feeling behind your action, right? Because you can say, I really want that next glass of champagne, but do you really? Or is it just because you've paid thousands of dollars and now you think, for me to get the full benefit of this flight, I might as well get that drink. I might as well, get another dish. I might as well get the next course, even if I'm full. And so the last time we flew business, it was one of the first times I didn't have champagne. I didn't have all of the courses. And even my partner was a little surprised, like, what? You're not gonna do the main? And I was like, no, like I had the appetizer and I'm full. And so that was a big deal for me, because I know that means that I have grown. I've gotten to the place where even if I spend a lot on something, if I'm fully content with what I've received from that item or from that service, I don't need all the extras. I don't need all the bonuses, because I fully maxed out my satisfaction from that. Okay, and that is actually a psychological phenomenon. Is our satisfaction kind of goes like this. There is a certain point to where you're no longer receiving any more satisfaction from something. Actually, you can be feeling the opposite effect. Like I said, guilt or shame, because you feel like you need to finish something even though you don't. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to talk about when it comes to just feeling scarce and having this mindset of lack. And I just want to say that my partner has really been that person who has made me feel so abundant. I was already abundant, don't get me wrong, like I was already abundant, but he has helped tweak me in those small areas. And it's funny because there are things that he is like lack in, and there are things that I am lack in, and we'll kind of help up level each other in all of these areas. Okay, so since I threw myself under the bus, I'm gonna throw him under the bus because we always joke about this. Like with my partner, the one thing that he has kind of this scarcity mindset around is furniture. Like I remember when we were shopping for furniture, he's like, oh my God, like $5,000 for a couch or for a bed, and he would make these remarks, and I was like, you have some scarcity going on there, buddy. And when I really broke it down to him, he laughed because he didn't realize like that your couch or your bed is something that you use on a daily basis for years. So actually, the ROI you get from that investment makes sense because you're using this item every day for weeks, for months, for years. But then meanwhile, he will feel completely abundant spending thousands of dollars for a business class flight or a first class flight and like not feel any guilt. So once again, we all have our kind of weird quirks, and it's a forever process. Like we are still becoming more and more abundant every day, and it is just awesome to look back and reflect on how much we've grown and how we have both allowed each other to blossom into our most abundant, most wealthy selves. And it's just great because there are times when I think in my head, oh my God, can we we afford this? Can we do this? And like, my partner is the kind of guy who just gets things without looking at the tag. And I know that's triggering to some people. Like, even when I first discovered this, it was a bit triggering to me, because I'm like, what? Like, you didn't check the receipt? Like, you don't even know how much we just spent? But I do want to say that our childhood plays such a huge role in that, because he grew up in just severe poverty. He grew up in India, and his parents, barely had the basic necessities. So now that he makes, a decent income, and he has a nice salary, he is willing to spend without thinking twice, because he dreamt of days like this. And so, once again, you could think that there's benefits to that, there's pros and cons, and yes, there is. Like, don't worry, we are always saving for our future. We have our investments, we have our savings, we have all of that. But I really love the fact that he's been able to just expand our experiences and up-level our experiences, like, all the time, And it shows me that your income, yes, it makes a difference in how abundant you feel, but actually abundance is a mindset, because I know multimillionaires or even billionaires who are stingier than my partner, okay? And he is like very far from that category, okay? So you don't need to be the richest person or the wealthiest person to truly enjoy life. I look at our, partnership, and I'm just amazed at the beauty and the luxury and the amazing things that we're able to witness and experience. And I wholeheartedly feel that we live better than most millionaires, and I think that that is huge, right? Because the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we spoil ourselves teaches the universe what we expect from our lives, what we, consider being the norm. So prior to meeting my partner, business class and first class seats were not the norm, but he has helped normalize that for me, and it's just been delightful. It's been everything. So that's what I have on the first wound. The next wound is the abandonment wound. So growing up, I did not have a very consistent, stable relationship with my father. It was on and off. There was a lot of hostility there. There was a lot of tension. And thankfully, we are at a much better place right now. And I'm just so happy that we've come as far as we have. But there were years on end where I truly felt abandoned by him. And to feel abandoned by like one of your primary caregivers can go really deep, and I think that a lot of us can relate to that. And I think that a lot of us have had issues in that space. Maybe perhaps not even with a parent, but I've also experienced abandonment with a romantic partner. And to have a relationship that means so much to you and is such a part of like your daily life, and then to all of a sudden be completely cut off with no closure and no reconciliation is really hard for the human mind to adapt to. And so obviously this creates trauma, and that trauma was definitely evident in my life. As a kid, anytime my mom would take me to parties at her friend's house or dinners, I would be stuck to her leg. Like, I did not want to go wander and hang out with all the other kids in like the kid room. Like, I wanted to be at my mom's hip all the time. And so bless her heart, because I was so, and I still am so attached to my mom, but like it was a whole nother level. Like, she'll joke about it that I was just so attached to her, I never wanted to let go. And even when we went to grocery stores and, you know, we'd be roaming the aisles, and sometimes, let's say I'd be looking at cereal or something, and she'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go check this, like, I'll be in this aisle. I'd be like, oh, no, I'm coming with you. Like, I just did not want to be separated from her. And it would be as simple as, like, let's say we were driving to the movie theaters and we were running late. She would kind of pull up to the parking lot, and let's say we didn't find any parking spots immediately. She would tell my sister and I, okay, I'll just drop you girls off. You guys go and get our seats ready, and I'm gonna park the car. And I would just throw a fit. Like, I'd be like, no, Mom, like, we all need to go together. We're not gonna get separated. Like, we'll wait. It's okay if we miss a little bit of the movie. Like, I've always just had this mentality that when I'm with someone that I love, like, I want to be with them. I want to be next to them. I want to be close to them. And I don't want to depart and have this kind of unstable feeling of, oh my God, like, when are we gonna be reunited? And it is sad just saying that. I mean, thankfully I've healed it. But the way in which my partner healed it is by showing up without a doubt all the time, consistently. All the time. All the time. Any single time he has said, I'll be there. I'm gonna pick you up. Whatever promise he had made, he fulfilled. And I know that when I first met him and he would be like, oh yeah, I'll do that, or I'll do this. I had this, like, this dialogue in my head, like, yeah, right. You know, like, kind of this disbelief that he would come through, that he would actually show up. But guess what? Time and time again, he did, and he continues to, and that has healed me in ways unimaginable. That has made me just such a more calm person, because now I don't have this feeling in my stomach like, oh my God, like, are we gonna be separated? Is something gonna happen? Are you gonna, like, not show up again somehow, you know? And once again, when we have these fears, we kind of retreat back to very childlike thinking. We become very childish in our responses, just in the way we're acting. And so thank God I have come to a place where, like, I can be completely honest and upfront if I'm feeling any sort of way, you know? And I don't resort to these, like, childlike tactics. But I remember, funny story, when we, like, first kind of started dating and my partner was going to fly back to India to visit his family, he had told me, like, oh yeah, I booked my flight to India. And I remember my, like, heart just dropped, right? Because in my head I'm thinking, oh my God, what if he just doesn't come back? Like, what if he just goes there and never shows up again? And I was like, oh, you booked a one-way flight? And he's like, no, round trip. And, like, it was just so funny that my first gut instinct was thinking that he would book a one-way flight, which makes no sense, right? Because he has work and all these responsibilities. But it is just cute how this same kind of childlike mentality will show up as an adult. A lot of us will think we're just being needy or we're just being way too dependent, but really it could be this childhood wound that you haven't really sat with, that you haven't really noticed and analyzed. And so now it's so cute because I think my partner is the same way I am. Like, every place we go, he is by my hip. Like, he does not want to leave me. He does not want to go hang out with the boys. And some people will be like, what is up with your man? Like, why is he always sitting next to you? And, like, other people might get annoyed with it, but I just have this deep satisfaction and this, like, feeling of comfort in my heart knowing he wants to be next to me. Like, he wants to be in my presence, in my space, like, physically, like, touching me and just that's where he thrives. Like, he wants to be next to his lady, and I absolutely love that. And it's just adorable. The other week we went to Thanksgiving dinner at my dad's cousin's house, and when we got there, we were just hanging out next to each other, and my dad tells me, you know, you can go hang out there with the women, like, he's gonna be fine. And I was like, oh no, you don't get it. He wants to be next to me. Like, I'm not the one who's attached. We both are. Like, it goes both ways. The feeling's mutual. And that's just when you know that you're in a divine union, is when you guys want to be next to each other. You guys want to be at the party right next to each other. Like, you want to be in their physical space, in their energy, because they are your favorite person on earth. And it's just an amazing feeling, and it has really healed my abandonment wound, because I know without a doubt that I would never be abandoned by him, and vice versa. We have each other for life, and it is what it is. Like, we both feel that way with one another, and it's just great when the feeling is reciprocated, and when you don't have this uneasy anxiety about it. Because obviously, if you're feeling anxious, there's a reason why, and it's because more than likely that other person has not been consistent. They have not shown up. They have not proven that they're always going to be there for you, and that is when these feelings of insecurity arise. So just notice that if you're feeling this way towards someone, it can be them, but it can also be you. Okay, so be able to really know yourself, and when you know yourself, you'll know if it's really something they're doing that's triggering you, or if it's just your own wounds that need a little bit of repair. Okay, so the last wound that my partner has helped me heal is the people-pleasing wound. And I don't think that this one really stemmed from like a certain event or a certain part of my childhood. I think that just as a whole, most women have the people-pleasing wound, and it's because biologically, you know, it's in our nature to want everyone to be happy, to want everyone to be served, to want everyone to feel whole and happy and loved and cared for. And so it's really natural for us to just put too much on our plate, promise too many things, take on all these duties, say yes to events that we really don't want to attend, and then we feel really burnt out, and we're not even doing it from a place of love. We're doing it from a place of like, ugh, I have to do this, and I said yes to this. Like, it's just like feeling where you're dragging your feet, okay? And so I was the queen of this. Like, oh my goodness, I would say yes to everyone and anyone. I would stop anything that I was doing to help someone else. I would have things in my calendar scheduled that needed to be done, you know? And if someone wanted to hang out, I'd be like, okay, and I would just ditch all these previous, you know, commitments that I had made to myself. And then, you know what I realized? The more that I was pouring into this person and that person and their drama and, you know, attending to other people's needs, I was neglecting myself, okay? And we've all heard it, you can't pour from an empty cup, okay? And not only that, but you're going to get the biggest return on your investment when you are making that investment in yourself. Okay, so my partner has really helped me realize this. Anytime I get like an invitation or a request or something like that, instead of just immediately responding yes or of course or I'll do that, like I sit with it and I really truth test whether or not this is something that I want to do, something that is in my capabilities, and something that I have the time and space and energy for. And if I don't, I will say no, and I won't feel bad about it, because guess what? That means that I am actually honoring myself. I'm honoring the commitments that I've made to myself, and I'm investing in the person who matters most, which is me, right? And when I prioritize me and when I invest in me, I am able to show up for others in ways that I couldn't have if I'm burnt out, right? So a lot of women struggle with people pleasing and just saying yes and getting walked all over, and you would be amazed the minute you put your foot down, the minute you say, no, I can't, or sorry, I won't be able to, people actually respect you more and people value you more. So the next time you don't feel like an F yes in your stomach or in your heart, when you get a request or when you're asked to go somewhere or when you have some sort of, when someone asks you a question or asks for a favor, then just kindly say no and don't feel bad about it, okay? That is part of us living our most abundant life, and that is what we came here to do. We came here to fulfill our dreams and desires and to live out the life that was meant for us. So we shouldn't just be living for other people or living to please other people and neglecting ourselves. Okay, so those are some of the ways in which my partner has helped me heal. I feel like I have been talking forever. This is a subject that just goes so deep, and I think that it is important because we live in a world where a lot of people assume that they need to just reach this level of enlightenment before they date, and the truth is, you're never going to reach enlightenment, first off, but you're not even going to get close if you're not in a close relationship with others, okay? If you're just alone and single and you are healing, great, but it's a completely different situation when you're bonded with someone and now you're not only dealing with your triggers and your wounds, but theirs. Right? And you have someone who's going to be completely honest and open with you to point these things out, not to be rude or not to be malicious, but to help you grow and to help you become a better person. And so surround yourself with people who see that innate light in you and who help you radiate it, who help you shine, because it might be painful in the beginning to actually acknowledge these wounds and to actually work through them, but once you have, it is just like night and day, and you will be amazed at the person you will blossom into. So I hope that this video was just what you needed to hear today. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. My stats show that only 9% of my viewers who watch are subscribed. So I'm talking to you. Make sure that subscribe button is checked off, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.